Hey guys, welcome back. And in this series, we're going to start working on applying materials to our model, as well as learn a bit more about the navigation inside of Substance Painter. So let's get into it. First thing first, I want to mention something that I think I should have mentioned in the last video is with the UI. Sometimes people get a UI that has half the UVs on one side and half the model on one side. So if you press F1, you see this is another layout that some people start off with for some reason, and basically to get it to look like mine, you want to press F2, which primarily focuses on the modeling, applying the materials to the model versus the UVs. But sometimes it's more beneficial to press F3 and to only see the UVs, apply the materials to the UV in that way. But in this video, we're not going to be doing this case, so we're just going to press F2 so we can solely focus on the models. Now on the left side here, we have the materials, and you can just drag and drop any material you like. And on the right side, you have this tab that says properties, and this is where you get to play around with the attributes that make up the materials. So you see we have a base color. You can click it and then choose any color of your liking. You can change the roughness, the normal, the height. And for this, there is no other attributes. So you can just drag these sliders to add more roughness or make it a little bit more sleek. So what I'm going to do is go up to this tab here with the material, and I'm just going to hit the trash can, which is the delete. And this works similar to Photoshop. So the layer that's on top is the dominant one, the one you actually see. And as soon as you get comfortable playing with the materials, you can see this tab here has smart materials. And these are custom preset made materials. They look a little bit more cool, if that makes any sense, and they come with a lot more details to them. And you can see on the right side, this comes with a folder versus the other one where it's just a material. And inside this folder is a bunch of different materials. So you can see that way. So we're going to close this up and close this. And now I want to start actually applying the materials that I want to use for the wall. And as you guys saw in the first video, I have some references that you guys can see in the reference folder. You can see the type of wall and materials that the hotel actually has. And I found a good material, which I'm going to go to this tab here. And I'm going to look for leather rough. And it's this material here. Everyone should have it. And you can just drag and drop it to the model. And what I want from this model is just the bumps. I don't really care about the color. So what I'm going to do is go down inside the properties tab here and just toggle off the color. You see we're left with this. And as well, I want you guys to be aware of the resolution that's in the viewport. I'm going to be using 4K textures, and this is in 1K right now. So if you go to texture set settings, go up, you can see the size says 1024, which is 1K, and I want to view this in 4K because my computer can handle it. And if your computer can, you can switch it as well. Now I'm going to go back to the layers tab, and where it says leather rough, I want to change the projection of the details on here. So what I'll do is go to the properties tab, go to where it says projection, change it from UV projection to triplanar. And this basically gives us parameters where we can physically see what we're doing. And right now we're in scale, but like any other application, you can press hotkeys to change. So if you want to move this, you can press W, which gives you the move, E, which gives you rotation. If you want to rotate these around, press Ctrl Z, and then you can press R to scale. And we want to downscale this, so it makes a little bit more sense with the effect we're trying to get. And I want something close to this. You can zoom in, you can see that bump on the wall. That looks nice. So I'm going to hold shift and right mouse click and drag to change the lighting so you can see it a lot better. And what I want to now do is drag another material on top of this. So I'll grab maybe this plastic matte color, drag this on top, and quickly you can see over here in the layers that it's on top. and that lets you know that the dominant one is on top, and each one that you apply will be above the one below. So what I want to do is go down to the properties and change this color, as well as disable metal and rough. So what I want to do is pick a color that's closer to the reference, which is like an orange, like a dark brownish color. Tan. Looks good somewhere around here. And as well as Photoshop, you can change the opacity. So if you want this to be a little lighter, you can press this 100 and just down this a bit. This looks good. Now that we have the color, now what I want to do is add some breakup a little bit. So what I'll do is go to the Smart Materials, and then I'll grab a plastic glossy, which is this. And in the preview, you can even see that it has some light splotches on it, and that's what we want for this. So we're just gonna drag and drop. And if you rotate around, you can kind of see what it's doing. You see that breakup? Like there's slight detail on here where there's dry patches and there's some wet spots. And that's detail that we want. So I just want to open the folder and disable the color layer. So we'll have those splotches like we need. So if you rotate the light around, you'll see that it's not too noticeable, but you can still notice it makes it look a lot more realistic. And that's what we want to go for, is something like this that's not heavily detailed. And what we want to do is, since this is going to be procedural and we're going to be duplicating these, you don't want anything that's going to stand out and you can tell that it's been duplicated, right? So we're going to add some alphas and some grunge marks and things like that, some decals basically inside of Unreal. So you don't need to add that here. So what I want to do is basically, let's see if we can down this a bit, as well as go to some of these attributes for the grunge, because that's what's actually giving this effect. So go to this icon here, and then we can go to the mask, and then we have attributes here at the bottom. And I'll slide this down so you guys can get a quick preview and see what we're actually doing. And if you slide the level down, you see that it's decreasing and increasing. So however much you want to use, you can do that. And I just want to slight difference here. That looks good. Also, what I want to do is close this out, go back to the material here for the color. So if you toggle this on, you see this is the base color. I want to go to roughness, and where it says roughness, I'm going to go down and play with the values. So this doesn't look too dry. Get a little bit more realism to it. This looks good here. Looks good. Now what I want to do is basically group all these into one folder. So I'll click this top layer here, then click this folder icon, which creates a new folder. I'm going to name this folder base color. Hit enter, and I want to select this layer right underneath it, then hold shift and select layer 1, which will grab all of these. I'll just drag and drop these into this folder and close it up. Now what I want to do is add a mask. So I'll right click on this layer and go to add a black mask. And if I try to paint, I can paint and recover that layer that we covered with the mask. But instead I want to press Ctrl Z to go back. Instead of doing that manually, we can go to this left side and change it from paint to polyfill. And this allows us to basically pick polygons to uncover the mask. And notice if you pick, these are different options here. So if you want to pick a triangle, you can choose a triangle. But if you pick a face, it'll grab the entire face. This selects the entire UV that makes up that area. So what I want to do is just go to the face here, and basically just drag select over the area you want to have this material scene on. Oh, and I actually don't want to do this. This is going to be unique. So I'll do something special for this wall later on. Don't forget to get down here as well. So what I'm doing is just making sure I'm not selecting any of the trim. Everything's nice and lined up the way we want it to. And this looks good. We're gonna leave this divider untouched, as well as this ceiling piece and the doorway, of course, because it's gonna be a different material applied, at least a different texture. So I think this is good to leave off on this video. And let's go back to the paint. Let's save our work. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.